Prophet predicted same-sex marriage. I mean, that's a sound hadith. He said the end of time will not come until a man marries a man and a woman marries a woman. And we have no evidence in human history that that was ever, we have no evidence that any culture has ever sanctioned same-sex marriage. But he said it will be one of the signs of the end of time. He said you will see nikah al-rajul al-rajul, wa nikah al-mar'ati al-mar'a. And nikah here means clearly marriage because homosexuality existed, so he wasn't talking about homosexuality or musahaqa. He was talking about marriage. So, he predicted that the buildings of Mecca would surpass the mountains. I mean, who could have thought of that in the 7th century of Arabia? Who could have thought of that? He predicted that people would fly in the air. He predicted that people would go out of their houses with things on their thighs that would tell them what was happening back in their families. He said that people would talk to shiraku na'alihi, which in Arabic, shiraku na'al is this. That is what a shiraku na'ali, which is the universal sign today for telephone. And he said a man will talk to his shiraku na'al. That's how people say it, right? The Arabs call that shiraku na'al. Is Imam Jamal here? Dahabi? Is he here? He went? Yeah. So all of those are aspects of the Prophet. And then the fact that he was predicted by previous revelations. I mean, he's predicted in the Dhammapada. There's a Hindu professor that proved that he was predicted in the scriptures in Sanskrit. I mean, he wrote a whole book on the Kalki avatar. And he didn't become Muslim. That's what's so weird about it. But he said it could be nobody else but Muhammad. It has to be him. So he was predicted in the Old Testament. What was Salman al-Farisi doing in Arabia? He was looking for the last prophet. He'd been told about him. Why were the Jews in Yathrib? I mean, there's a lot of nice places to live for the Jews at that time. I mean, they came from Sham. Why would they live in Yathrib, middle of the Arabian desert? Because they actually believed that the last prophet was coming from that place. There were rabbis in Yemen who knew that he was coming. 80 years before the prophet was born, there was a Yemeni chieftain that tried to take over Medina, and when he found out it was the place of the last prophet, he made a waqf, which is where the prophet's house was. And he said, I want this to be where that prophet lives. I mean, these are all recorded. The Prophet ﷺ predicted the Baghdad is predicted, the circular city that would be destroyed, many, many things. So, in the end, man sha'a falyu'min, whoever wants, let him believe. Wa man sha'a falyakfur, whoever wants, let him disbelieve. It's a choice. In the end of the day, it is a choice. Let people believe, let them disbelieve.